Hey guys, Jeff here, Dice Setters. So I was at a casino in Vegas, South Point, on the whole weekend. So we got to celebrate New Year's in Vegas, which is really cool. One of the viewers, he sat there and hit me up and wanted to play with me. His name is Richard, and shout out to Richard. Thanks for coming out and playing with me. He and I waited for a $5 table. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, and all they had was a $10 table. And I'm like, if we wait 1 hour, they'll have a $5 table. So we waited 1 hour. And it was really nice to just sit there at the table, talk, and wait for them to open up the table and being played at a $5 table. And also because all my strategy was based upon a $5 table. So my strategy just exploded when I went down to the craps table and found out the $10 table is open and is the only one open. But they opened up the $5 table, which was cool. But on New Year's Eve, they had all the tables going, and most of them were only $5. I think they had one at 15, which is big shout out for them because like they could have made, if it was Caesars, every table would have been 25 or higher. That's all I gotta say. But I mean, South Point, shout out, man. $5, keeping it $5, that's amazing. One guy at the table, he was always doing hot bets, and he would do hot bets for the dealers, for himself. And a hot bet truly isn't the place to go unless you're doing it correctly. Let me explain to you what a hot bet is. A hot bet is a one-time bet only. It's any number that the dice can roll. So you can have a hard way hot bet, like a 3-3, which would be a 6. You can have a hot bet, which would be a 2, which would be a 1 and a 1, which would be a hard 2. Or you could sit there and have a hot bet, which would be like a 9, a 4, and a 5. All the hot bets, one-time roll only. If they're paired up, as far as a hard way, they pay 30 to 1. If they're not paired up, then they're only 15 to 1. And a lot of people will sit there and say, well, I'm rolling 9s. That's the only thing I'm rolling is 9s. I'm going to hop the 9. And that's the wrong way to sit there and do it, say it, because you're not going to make near enough money unless you do it the other way. The hot bets are located most of the time, if they're going to have it here. Now, South Point does not have hot bets, but they will accept hot bets. How they keep track of what hot bet you have or what hot bet you're on, I have no idea. Because they just put random money, in an empty spot, and you're just like, this is the, hot 8, this is the hot 9. And you're like, well, I'm glad a lot of people aren't playing it. Because how would they remember what's what? So this is the way I would recommend doing it. It can't be at your table that you use at your house or your friend's house. And it has to be the table that you're going to sit there and do most of your playing on. And you're going to write down every number that is rolled. And I don't mean like this being 4. You're going to write down a 4. No, you're not going to write down a 4. You're going to write down a 3 and a 1. And then you're going to re-roll it. And each time it's something different, you're going to sit there and mark it down. You will have a dominant number. Right now, my dominant number is 4. I rolled it. I got a 1. I had 3 3s. I had a 2. Lots of 4s. 2 5s. Looks like 3 6s. And I sit there and, this is my casino. This is the way I roll at my table. And you want to make sure you're dead on because you don't want to be wrong. So however it is that you sit there and you roll at your table, you're going to keep a track of what numbers you roll. So that you're going to mark a 5 and you'll mark a 1. And my 1 is over here because they don't have a 1 anywhere on this place. So right now my two numbers would be 4 and 5. So you have the 4-1, the 4-2. We're going to skip the 4-3 because that's a 7. You have the 4-4, the 4-5, and the 4-6. That's 5 numbers. And then you're going to do the same thing with the 5s because right now the 5s are dominant. So you're going to give them $10 and you're going to sit there and say, any number with the 4 in it, hop. Any number with the 5 in it, hop. So you'll have 10 numbers hopping. And if you hit the 4 or hit the 5, you're guaranteed to have either $15 or you're going to have $30. So you took your $10 and you made it into 15, Or better yet, if you can hit a hard way, you made your $10 into $30. So that's an extra way you can sit there and make money. It's simple, it's easy, but for you to sit there and say, well, I'm rolling more nines than anything else, I'm going to hop the nines, that's not where it is. You will have a dominant number. If you roll consistently, if you have a starting point, if you have an ending point, you will have a dominant number. The odd thing that I thought was kind of funny was on my table here, I do the 3-1, 3-2, and I lightly at the very top, and then I tuck it in, just grip it at the very, very top. Almost if you grip it too much, it's going to fall out of your hands. And then when you sit there and let go, your thumb is going to release, it's going to hit the back. For some reason, when I got there, I completely forgot how I was holding the dice. And I actually held the dice by the edges. And I did a fantastic job. And then as the dice went around, I'm like, that's not my throw. My throw is not with the edges. My throw is flat and at the very top. At least it is on my table. So my next go around, I did that. I sat there and said, well, I did a fantastic job with it being on the cut edge. It should be 1,000 times better if I roll it correctly. And that one ended me to do, I got my point. The next roll was a 7. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go back to using the cut edge of the dice and throwing it. And that helped. But remember everything when you get to the table. Your strategy, even down to where do you hold the dice. And you can imagine, I want to look good for you guys. I want to do the best I can for you guys. And if I want to show you that dice setting is something that anyone can do. So I started early in the morning thinking about my dice strategy. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to play at a $5 table. This will be my dice strategy. I get down there and we're at a $10 table. So now my mind is panicking because I'm like, well, I can throw away my $5 strategy out the door. Now I got to replace it with the 10. But the cool thing was everyone was happy to wait for 45 minutes and we got the $5 table. The only thing I didn't remember was the fingering on the dice and how it was. And like I said, the finger placement makes a huge difference. And sometimes you might get to the casino and you're like, it doesn't work. Just change your grip, up higher, all the way down, on the corner. These little things make a huge, huge difference. And then once you're at this table, and once you can sit there and write down, I'm rolling more 4s and 5s than anything else. As long as you keep the exact everything up, this won't change. But if you start, changing your where you place the fingers higher or lower or whatever, this outcome will change, and then you'll have to change your hot bets. I'm not one to sit there and throw money at the casino. I don't agree with hot bets, but this is how they work. And you'll have $10 going, not all the time, but periodically throughout the game, why not? You can make the $10 into 15, or better yet, that $10 into 30, especially if you hit a hard way. But anyhow, that's hopping the bets. And the guy who was sitting here, really super, super nice guy, and he was doing everything he could to give the dealers more money, and he was losing big time because the hop numbers weren't paying out. But he was seeing that his favorite number was 9, or maybe he most time rolled a 9. So he would say hop the 9s. And then he'd throw no 9s. You should have been doing, I get more 4s than anything else. And I get more 5s than anything else. And when those two come together, I get a 9. Why not sit there and go, 4s are the predominant, I'm going to bet all the 4s. That's only $5 out of your pocket. Or if you want to sit there and do 2 numbers, you can. But that's better than hopping the number that you always get, which most people would be 6 and 8. Some people, they do roll more 10s than anything else, but 6s and 8s, that's the easiest number to roll. And of course, most people say hop the sixes, hop the eights. But it takes two numbers to make a six and two numbers to make an eight. So let's see what the dominant number that you're throwing in that combination is, and then we can go after that one. And if you're only rolling $5 at it and you're not doing it every single time, see what your chances are. I bet you that will get you more hop bets than going after it. I roll more nines than anything else, I'm going to hop the nines. Versus this way, you see you've rolled more fours, you see you rolled more fives, I'm going to put the money on 4. Most of the time people have a dominance of 1, and it seems like 5. And why that is, I'm not for sure. But if you are keeping tabs, and you do see players that are rolling, with a beginning, a distinct beginning, and they have a certain way of holding it and a certain way of following through, if you keep tabs on what they're doing, you can also have fun by hopping their stuff up as well. And all you've got to have is just the minimum on your pass line to sit there and do the hop bets. It's $5 to do one set of numbers, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 1, whatever you want to do. And think of the encouragement that you'd be giving to those people that take time to sit there and set their dice, and they know what they're doing, and you're hopping their, what they're throwing, because there's a secret behind the hop bets. It isn't your favorite number. Guaranteed, hopping your favorite number is not going to do anything. You're going to lose money. My favorite number is 22, but I can't hop 22. Just hop the number that you're more likely to roll. And that's how hop bets pay off. That's how you make them work. And definitely make sure you know how you are gripping the dice. And if it's not working at the casino, but it works at home, try something just a slight bit different. Grab the very edge. Grab the very center. Go the claw all the way around. And that right there will change it drastically. One way, it's going to get a lot worse or a lot better. That's all I can tell you. But if you're like, man, what do I do now? So the whole weekend depends on me rolling good. Do something different. Do the grip different. And that right there will change your outcome. One thing I got to sit there and say is the guy that came out and we sat there and played together, the dealers were all over him for some reason. I have no idea why. He started off, by giving them $1 and sat there and said, here's a tip for you guys. But there's times that you're rolling and the dice will just stall out. I mean, you're throwing it. And, a couple of times the dice stalled out. I call it stall out. I don't know what you want to call it. But they would stop about right here. I mean, they were going lickety-split. And then they got to here and stop. And the dealer would sit there and say, I've told you they gotta hit the back of the table. Okay, sure, okay, make sure. And then, after 7 or 8 rolls, one of the dice would actually hit something or come in contact with something and stop. And the dealer would sit there again. You gotta hit the back of the table. Yeah, we all know that. We're all trying for that. But I've been there. I've been there when you try to roll and it just stalls out here and you're just, okay, so I have egg on my face. I didn't intentionally do that. If you see the force coming off of the dice, I wouldn't have intentionally done that. But what they're trying to do is get you to mess up. I fully agree that's what they were trying to do. They see somebody that's winning. They see somebody whose money is expanding, and it's your time to roll. They're going to call you out on every little thing that you're doing wrong or what they think you're doing wrong. Don't let that bother you. Take a big, deep breath. Don't let it bother you. Because I guarantee if you make it bother you, the very next roll you're going to hit is going to be a 7. Guaranteed. Because they got up here. So if that should happen, it's going to happen to all of us. You're going to sit there and come short and stop before it hits actually the backboard, and they're going to get mad at you. Don't get mad. Don't get frustrated. Just say yes, sir. Sorry. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take the dice. do what you know, do it right. That's all we can do. Hey, thanks for everyone that's become a new subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please become a subscriber. I know I'm far, far away from having 3,000 people. I'm only 2,700 away. I'm close. But once I get the 3,000 people, I can do a live version. And that way that when I'm showing you how to roll, you're not, well, he's cheating, or he's got fake dice, or he's got heavy dice, leaded dice, whatever kind of dice you can possibly have. I don't. I take this in one shot, and that's the way it is. But it'd be really cool to do it live, don't you think? And then all the mistakes, they're just off in Neverland, and that's all there are. They're just mistakes. But it'd be really cool to go live. Like the like button if you like it, put down the don't like it button if you don't. I can't please everybody. But tell me what you think. Tell me about what you did for New Year's. Anybody sit there and play craps on New Year's? Let me know what your experience was. And if you did play craps on New Year's or New Year's Eve, let me know what the table minimum was. Were you nice to have a $5 table minimum? Or were you up in the $25, the $35? Someone said they even had $100, and that was on the strip. $100 minimum on the table. Yeah, no way. Wouldn't want to do it. But let me know in the comments below. Tell me what your minimum was if you played craps on New Year's or New Year's Day. Have a great one, guys. See ya.